Hi everyone, welcome to our Midday Stretch Express. My name is Elizabeth and I'm the Health and Fitness Coordinator here in Bedford. So today we're going to take 30 minutes just to stretch out our bodies, total body stretch. All you need is a yoga mat and you're going to come into a seated position to start. So just find a comfortable seated position on your mat. And then from here, you're going to come into tabletop. So wrists are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips. We're going to start just circling the hips a bit here. So circling your hips back down towards your heels and then around until you're back to neutral. Circling in one direction here. And we're going to reverse directions now. Start circling the other way. Let's do 3 more of those. All right, you're going to come now into a neutral spine, neutral back here. Then you can curl your toes under here and then start to sit your hips back into your feet, stretching out the tops of your toes here, just sitting on top of your heels. Sit nice and tall for a moment. If you'd like to get a little chest opening stretch here, you can also clasp your hands into a fist behind your back, peel open that chest. Hold there. All right, coming back into tabletop. Now let's do a little cat-cow sequence here. So starting off in cow position, dipping your belly towards the ground, tailbone goes up towards the sky, looking up towards the sky, and then reverse, tucking your tailbone and pushing your spine up towards the ceiling, tucking your chin in towards your chest, pushing through your hands and your legs, and reverse. Inhale, going to cat. Exhaling into cow, inhaling to cow, exhaling to cat. Let's do 1 more of each of those. All right, and back to neutral. Take a moment to stretch out your wrists here. So flip your palms so they're facing towards the ceiling. The tops of your hands are on the mat and your fingertips are pointing towards your legs. You start to sink back a little bit in your hips here till you feel a stretch through the front of your wrists, and then hold there. Okay, then flip your palms back down on the mat, come back to a neutral spine in your tabletop position. Sweep your right arm open overhead, looking up towards that hand. Hold there for a moment. And now thread the needle, bring that arm down in between your left arm, left leg. Laying that arm down on the mat if you're able to, and also placing your head down on the mat, your right ear is on the mat. Holding here. Might feel a little bit of a stretch through your right hip here. Follows through your right ribs, spine. All right, come back to neutral. Sweep that left arm overhead, opening up, looking up towards that left hand. And then thread the needle. Bring that left arm in between your right arm, right leg. Lay it on the mat. Head comes down to the mat as well. Back into tabletop. Now come back into a seated position. So you can start in sort of a butterfly seated position. So bringing your soles, the soles of your feet to touch. Your hips are out to the sides. Your knees are out to the sides, I should say. And as you inhale, start to lengthen through your spine, sitting up nice and tall. And as you exhale, think about letting those legs fall a little bit deeper to each side, holding here, opening up your hips. Let's do a few cycles of breath here. As you inhale, think about lengthening. And as you exhale, think about deepening the stretch. Okay, now you can keep your right leg in and then extend your left leg out wide and out to the side a bit here to an angle. Sweep your arms overhead and start to twist towards that left leg and fold forward over it. You can have a bend in that knee so you're not hyperextending anything. Just holding here. Feel a stretch through your right side here, by your right spine, around your lumbar, maybe up into your thoracic spine. Roll back up. Now extend your right leg out long and also angled out a bit to the right, and then bring your left leg in as if it was going back into that butterfly position. Bring your arms up overhead, slightly turn to the right, turn towards that right leg, have a little micro bend in that front knee, and then start to hinge forward, folding over your front leg. Holding here. Rolling back up. Okay. Coming back into that kneeling position if that's comfortable for you. If it isn't comfortable for you, just take any seated position that is. If you want to stretch out your feet a little bit, you can come up to your toes, so sitting on your heels. Totally up to you here. Just take a seat that is comfortable for you. You're going to stretch your shoulders, so cross your left arm across your chest and capture it in between your right elbow crease. Start to pull that left arm to the right and back of the room at the same time. Feeling that stretch through your left shoulder. And let those shoulders drop down away from your ears as well. Throughout this whole stretching session, thinking about inhaling to lengthen through the spine, exhaling to deepen the stretch. If you're able to. Don't push yourself too far to a point where you're uncomfortable. All right, release the arms, shake them out for a second, and now cross your right arm across your chest, capturing it between your left elbow crease, pulling that right arm towards the left and back of the room. Holding here. And release. Okay, from there you can take your left arm up and back, pat yourself in the back with that left hand, and then take your right hand, place it on top of your left elbow. Start to gently push down on your left elbow so your hand is reaching down your back. You're cradling your head between your arms here, and you're just holding here. Stretching your tricep, your left tricep. And release. We're going to switch sides. Right hand on your upper back, left hand on top of your right elbow, gently pushing down, holding here. One second, let me adjust my headphone here. And release that hand. Find your way back into tabletop, and then push those feet back into downward facing dog. So you're straightening out your legs. Still have a bend in the knees though. Your heels are reaching towards the ground. They don't have to touch the ground. Mine aren't touching the ground. And your belly is reaching towards the top of your thighs, pushing through your hands, opening up through the shoulders here. You can pedal the feet if you'd like. Stretch those calves out. And now you can start to walk your feet up to your hands until you're in a forward fold. And then you can roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time to standing. Nice job. Okay, from standing, do a few little stretches here. So standing up nice and tall, roll those shoulder blades back and down away from your ears to get into a nice standing pose here. Bring those arms down by your side, pushing through your feet, through your toes are spread out, pushing through the heels, middle of your foot. Take one big deep breath in and a big deep breath out here. Okay, now sweep your arms overhead. Keep those shoulders drawing down away from your ears. Now you're going to turn your palms out facing away from you, and then you're going to goal post the arms down and continue to draw the arms down, pulling the elbows together to open up the chest and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Hold for a moment and then sweep your arms back up and repeat. Back to the goal post arms and then letting those arms continue down your back, squeezing the elbows closer together, opening up the chest. You might notice that your head wants to travel forward here. Your neck might be pushing your head forward. If you start to notice that, just gently push your neck back in alignment with your spine. So you don't want to have that forward craning neck going on here. Let's do 3 more of these. All right, let's do one other chest opener here, another dynamic stretch. So you can bring your fingertips to touch at the center of your chest here. And then you're gonna bring your elbows up so they're parallel with the floor. And then open up your right arm to the side, out long. Sort of rotate towards that right arm, looking over to the right arm, bring it back to center and switch sides. So it's sort of like a shoulder strengthener, chest opener / rotational stretch. One more on each side. All right, drop those arms. Okay, now what you're gonna do is reach those arms up overhead, and then you're going to bend those knees and forward fold down, kind of like in a quick sweeping motion. Then stand back up and forward fold down. Sort of like you're painting the wall in front of you with your hands. Keep that bend in the knee as you fold forward. And just imagine as you inhale, you're bringing in fresh energy, you're standing up and inhaling, feeling all those good vibes. And as you exhale and bend forward, you are just letting go of whatever you want to let go of today. Inhale to extend, exhale to fold. 3 more of these. And then we'll meet in a forward fold, a static forward fold at the top of your mat. Okay, coming to a flat back, bring those hands onto your shins, pulling those shoulder blades together. And then fold forward again, place your hands on the mat and step back into a plank, and then quickly come into a downward facing dog. Okay, from here, you're gonna start to peel forward, step your right foot in between your hands, and you're gonna rise all the way up into a high lunge. Arms are by your ears, fingers up towards the sky. So inhaling to lengthen through the spine. Exhaling, maybe you can bend a little bit further into that front leg, but keep that knee tracked behind your toes. Feel a nice stretch through the front of your left hip here, your left hip flexor. Holding here. All right, now start to straighten that front leg. Maybe you can scoot that back foot in forward just a foot or so. Straighten that front leg. And now you can start to fold over that front leg if you're able to. And you can still keep a little bit of a bend in the front leg. It doesn't have to be completely straight. You really never want your legs to be completely straight. You always want to keep a little bit of a bend in the knee to protect that knee. Feeling a stretch through your hamstrings, your right hamstrings, your right glute. Holding here. Start to roll yourself up back to standing. Step up to the front of your mat. Sweep your arms overhead and then fold forward all the way down. Come to flat back, hands on the shins. Back to forward fold and then step back into plank and downward facing dog for a moment. All right, start to come forward and step your left foot between your hands. Rise up all the way into a high lunge. So your front foot is completely planted on the ground and you're probably on the ball of your back foot here. Inhale to lengthen, sweep those arms up by your ears overhead. As you exhale, maybe you can bend a little deeper into the front leg, bending that knee. Feeling that stretch through your right hip flexor. And you might notice that your left leg is kind of pushing out away from the midline of your body. If you notice that, start to push that leg back towards center. So your knee should be right over your foot. Not right in tracking in line with your foot, I should say, but behind your toes. All right, holding here. Okay, now you can step your back foot in like a foot and start to straighten that front leg and fold forward over it. Holding here. All right, step that back foot up to meet your front foot. You're in a forward fold. Now roll all the way back up, one vertebrae at a time. Sweep those arms overhead. Inhale, and then exhale to fold forward. Place your hands on your shins. Come into a flat back, squeezing those shoulder blades closer together. And then fold forward. Place your hands on the mat. Come to downward facing dog for a moment. Okay, from here, you're going to start to look forward and place your right foot outside to the outside of your right hand. So instead of in between your hands, it's the outside of your right hand by your pinky. So you're in a low lunge here. Now what you can do is start to lower that back leg, your knees on the ground, shins on the ground. And you can either just stay here, you can put your hands on some blocks if you need to bring yourself up a little bit. If you have the flexibility, you can start to come down onto your forearms. That's honestly a little bit of a stretch for me, so I'm just going to stay on the palms of my hands here. Just holding here. Maybe if it's comfortable for you, you can find a little bit of movement here, maybe swaying a little bit side to side. Nothing crazy. Don't want to tweak our backs here at all, but maybe just a little bit of gentle movement, see what feels good. And maybe keep your left hand planted and then sweep your right arm up, looking up towards your right arm. Place that right arm back down, and then you're going to make your way back into a tabletop and then into a downward facing dog. Pedal it out. All right. As you exhale, step your left foot out to the outside of your left hand and bring your left shin down to the mat. And hold here, find a comfortable level of stretch here. So if you want to bring your hands up further, you can put them on books or a block to get a little bit less of a deep stretch. If you want it deeper, you can come down into your forearms, or you can just stay on your hands like I am. Hold here. Keep your right hand planted and then sweep your left arm open, looking up towards that left hand. All right, place that left hand back on the mat. Come into tabletop and then bring your knees as wide as the outer edges of your mat. Toes are touching. Sink your hips down and back towards your heels. Your chest and belly are reaching towards the ground. Head on the mat. Arms by your ears on the mat. Rest here.